Hey, welcome back. We got a knife here, and I think this should be a pretty interesting one. This is, I think, the Blade HQ exclusive Demko AD20S in Ultem, and I took it on trade towards a more expensive knife. Which I was actually looking to sell outright, but this was one that had caught my eye and I never ended up getting my hands on it. So thought it'd be worth checking out, sharing with you all. Let's see what we think here. Get some of the packing materials out of the way here. All right, got our tactical peanuts. Nicely packaged, my friend. Thank you. This is a friend of the channel here that did this deal. I forgot this was an M4 variant, so it must be Blade HQ then. I believe they were the only ones doing M4. It's interesting. This is one of the cool things about Demko, and I don't know how many other makers do this, but you can pretty much tell which AD20, where the AD20S came from, based on whether or not, based on the blade steels. There are a few other factors, but there are very few blade steels that they do across multiple resellers. So interesting stuff. So Ultem, oh, no thumb stud. I did not catch that. This is a, oh cool, we threw in some skiffs too. That'll be interesting. Maybe check those out. So this is a peanut. I didn't realize that about this variant. So interesting, interesting. Overall feels good. Now, do we have the skiffs in it? I think not. Let me just double check here. But I think these are the skiffs. Because yeah, these are not skiffs. So I think the skiffs are in it. And I could kind of tell the difference, which is why I kept checking, even though initially I thought the skiffs were out of it. So there you go, Ultem. And the interesting thing about this particular scale variant, I have an Ultem, but it has tie liners. This one has no liners. This is a linerless Ultem scale, and man, that is very light. This is the Slicer Shark shape. You can see the CPM M4 there. Let's give this thing a weigh-in, and I'll show you some other Demkos to compare for context. So I think the weigh-in's going to go in this order, but we'll see what actually happens. So here's the big boy, full-size Demko 8020, the one that popularized the 8020 model. You got 7.6 there. And shave some serious weight here. 4.82 ounces. So you got almost 3 ounces lower. Now you have a thinner blade here, but aside from that, the handle and the blade and everything are the same size. So you got a thinner blade, and you got Ultem, and you're shaving 3 ounces. Pretty crazy. And then again, a little lower, you've got a Grivery version here with steel liners, I believe. 3.5 ounces, and then here's the lightweight, and that's the 8020.5, of course, if you don't know. And then here's the Shark Cub, 2.86 ounces. This one is a G10 variant of the Shark Cub. So what I'm really interested to do is to see this, and two things I'm really interested in. One is to see this in the light, because I think it'd be very interesting, and two is to just share what we can see about the shark lock moving inside of it. I don't think we're going to see much, because the way the liners work, if you're familiar, on the shark lock, you got to have this steel liner in here suspending these pins that the shark lock rides on. These two pins right here it rides on. And then there's a spring in there, basically here, that compresses. So yeah, you can't see it, unfortunately. I wasn't quite sure how that would show up, but still pretty cool. Curious what that is. It looks kind of like something that just holds the, let's see if we can zoom in a little, that holds the liner in place. Yeah, Interesting. But you don't have like a full liner. It's like a part liner, right? It's just the shark lock essentially, where you have a liner here. So they've done what they could to minimize that. Pretty neat. I bet if they did a lot more of this stuff in tie, this thing would be like 4.5, 4.25 ounces. They, do use a lot of steel on their knives. So, but that's, like a $450 MSRP. You get a full-size knife under 5 ounces like that. It is pretty unique. There are certainly full-size knives. I just reviewed a Clyde Challoner, pretty close to a full-size knife, but there's something a little different about a Demko. Like this is a full handful, we'll say, of knife, plus some. And that is, 4.8 ounces. It's pretty impressive. Skiffs always add just a little bit of extra smoothness, which is nice. Yeah, this AD20S model, it's not one that I would normally consider carrying. It's big. It's usually pretty heavy. This is light enough that I could actually see having this in the pockets. Let me throw it in the pocket real quick here. Just give it a quick feel. Sorry, it's off the screen. Yeah, I could see, because one of the things that happens is you have a certain amount of like surface area that touches against your leg. And if the weight is more spread across that, I've noticed you don't notice as much weight. If this is thinner at the same weight, you end up feeling the knife more in your pocket. These are nice flat scales. They're big. So although this would pull, down on the pocket with a full 4.8 ounces, it kind of feels pretty good in the pocket, which is nice. So very interesting variant. I was really not sure what to think. I think I like it more than I thought I would. I would really like it in a shark foot. I think that's for me, the right way to make this a really functional EDC made in USA for 450 bucks. Big but light. You put the shark foot on there, and then it starts to make it really difficult to justify having the AD20.5 also. For me, I could see kind of getting it down, but this thing does also just feel so good in hand, man. I love that size of the AD20.5. This just feels generous. This feels like a full size, full handful of knife. Interesting. I really don't even have to do this test because I've handled more than 50 different Demkos. I can tell you this is going to go well. But man, they always put a really nice edge on their knives. This is not a super thin blade. It is a grind that has a decent little, it's moderately thin behind the edge. But as you can see, phenomenal on the cutting. Someone told me I should do more paper cutting in my videos, so trying to oblige. And, size-wise, hopefully you already know what the size of these are. This is not a full review of the AD20S lineup or anything, but just in case you're curious, you got about a 3.5 inch blade, about 3.625 blade, just under 3.5 of cutting edge essentially there. And then overall length coming in at, wow, longer than I thought, 8.625. It's pretty freaking big. Forget how big these were. For some reason I thought they were 8 inch overall length, but that's massive. Or 8.25 or something. I'm not the biggest fan of just having the peanut. I usually like having the thumb stud as well, but maybe it's the skiffs, maybe it's the way the guy tuned it. It does feel good on the lockup. I have no problem deploying this one so far since it's been here. I haven't missed it once, have I? You probably know better than me because you were laughing over in your chair while eating your popcorn. Saw a stat that about 13% of my videos get watched on the TV, so. Yeah, interesting. The sound is definitely different than a full metal scale. This one's a little more satisfying, but it's not far off. It's more similar to the G10 for sure, but much lighter. So you save about 3/4 of an ounce versus a G10 variant. If I recall correctly, they're about 5.5 ounces for the same model. So interesting. Again, glad to have it on the channel. I think that's about it for now. I'm gonna have to sit and contemplate this knife a little bit, see how it fits into the collection. But hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.